There are hidden cues in someone that gives away if someone is new money. We're gonna go through what those hidden cues are in today's video. My dear elegant ladies, welcome back to a new video. Why do the nouveau riche or new money have such bad reputation? I think it's because there are certain types of people. I don't think they speak for the majority, but there are a group that can be quite obnoxious, maybe not very refined. Some might even think that, because I have money now, I'm better than everyone else. So for this reason, the new money community have a little bit of bad reputation because of those few bad apples. However, one thing that we need to take into account that most wealthy people today are actually new money. And that's because wealth has become much more attainable in our current climate than it has ever before. So I personally don't think that there's anything wrong at all with being new money. So for this reason, I don't think anyone is better than the other, regardless of where their money is from. Money does not define any human being, okay? We're not measuring people's value based on money. So that's just, let's put that out of the way. So today's list is actually more for fun. It's also for some who might just want to make sure that they're not, now stepping into some really stereotype version of a character that they might not feel represent them as a person. Please also know this is generalization. There are exceptions. This is not a rule. And I am not saying that any of these points are bad or wrong and that you shouldn't be doing it. You can definitely be an elegant and educated person even if you have or do things on this list. Anyway, let's start with the list. Point number 1, and let's get the most common point out of the way first, because we need to talk a little bit about the overuse of logos, which is definitely what most of us think about when we think about someone who is of new money. And the way I see it is that I think wearing logos is absolutely fine, but it all depends how you wear logos. The nouveau riche tend to take logos to some extreme where it becomes too much in someone's face and kind of screams desperation in a way. I'm talking about when maybe you're wearing garments that have the brand name spelled out, the name very visible, very clear, very much in your eyes. Or let's say you're wearing a print of a garment and it's all the logo of whatever brand it is. Other times it can be a little bit tacky is when you combine many different logo items or obvious branded items together, which is when it becomes a little bit distasteful. If you want to wear logos, it's fine. Keep it less. You don't have to have everything in logos, maybe just one item, maybe it's a little bit more discreet. Point number 2, money. So we're not here to point fingers. Yeah. But it is a common characteristic of new money wealth is to be a little bit more careless of spending, being more excessive, not really caring, thinking, using money as if it's growing on trees, And the thing is with old money, they have this mindset that they've been educated that, okay, we're passing on wealth. So we need to preserve the money in order for it to last onto generations and to make sure that there is something to leave to the next generation. So they're more careful with how they spend, even though they will of course also buy expensive things, but they will think more in quality rather than quantity. The nouveau riche are more into flashing, excessiveness, more is more. But the reason why this careless spending is not really elegant and that is because it's oftentimes, like I said, connected to excessive spending, which 1, is not very sustainable, and 2, it comes across a little bit immature or almost insecure, I would say. What I mean with immature, it almost feels like we go back to high school. We want to prove ourselves that we belong with the cool kids and that we are so cool, and for this reason we need to do all these crazy things or sometimes even stupid things in order to prove a point. That's when it becomes immature and off-putting and not so elegant. I think it's very important to be clever with your money rather than excessive. And then of course you should treat yourself as much as you want, but being smart is number 1. And smart does oftentimes not equal being loud. So this is something to think about, especially if you ladies acquire wealth at some point. Now, I need to be honest with you. I have made so many mistakes on this leveling up journey, and most people wouldn't admit these mistakes, but I have done so in my brand new workshop called How I Went from Broken Awkward to $1 Million Life. And I want to really give you the tools that worked tremendously well when I leveled up. And I have also noticed that this is the formula that people utilize when they level up, and I want you to have access to this. And this is actually a free training. It's 60-minute long, and it's only here for limited amount of time. So please come and join me for this workshop. You sign up by going to the link levelupsecret.com, but make sure you hurry up so that you don't miss this opportunity, because this workshop is going to go away soon. So make sure you don't miss. Next in line, we have looking too expensive. What do I mean by that? I mean, on this channel, I talk so much about looking expensive. Is there such a thing that looking too expensive? Oh yes. Listen, ladies, when I talk about that we aim to look expensive on this channel, I'm talking about that. I mean, I think it's normal that most people want to look like they wear high quality garments versus cheap garments. I don't think anyone would like to wear cheap looking clothes, right? However, there is such a thing as looking too expensive. And I probably would rephrase it and call it more looking too extravagant. Same principle as we spoke about earlier. But now we're not really talking about designer logos necessarily, because you can actually look too expensive without logos. I'm talking about, you know, when you're drenched in diamonds, or you're wearing fur, or you're wearing like these really big hats and gloves and stiletto heels. And it's all very kind of, everything combined just makes you look a little bit of a stereotype of a rich person, basically. Almost like a cartoon character. When we are in these circles, or even if we're not in these circles, we don't want to look like a stereotype of anything, I think, right? And this actually takes us to the next point, which is that the nouveau riche, they tend to wear very stereotypical rich people's items. So we're talking about, I don't know, the Cartier love bracelet, we're talking about Loro Piana open walk shoes, we're talking about the Chanel bag, or even, you know, the Birkin bag to some degree, certain watches, etc., etc. And please, I want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with wearing these items. There's nothing wrong with wanting to fit into a community, to a society. After all, I've been teaching you over the years of if you want to blend in, well, definitely this is the direction you should be going. This is kind of the social cues, this is the dress code, etc. It's not about that you shouldn't wear these things now, but it's about understanding that sometimes there is a line between blending in, right? And then you can take it a bit too far by just looking so stereotypical that you just scream, I don't know, nouveau riche, pretentious, new money, whatever. And that's basically what I'm trying to explain here. I also have many of these things, and I also wear, like, I wear my Cartier love bracelet, and I'm not gonna stop wearing it now just because it's stereotypical nouveau riche. Those who would like guidance of not looking like a stereotype, this is what the list is for. Next in line, being part of the jet set circuit, traveling to all the hot spots. And I'm talking about some very stereotypical rich people's destinations. Let's say you go skiing in Courchevel or Aspen, or in December you travel to Saint Barth, or in summer it's south of France, in particular Saint-Tropez, Monaco, etc. Again, ladies, there is nothing wrong going to these destinations for the experience, but what I'm referring to now is that there is a certain circuit. It's a repeated schedule in a way, an annual schedule. In particular, the new money crowd enjoy and they flock to, and they just travel from spot to spot, and they do that whole circuit over and over again, year after year. And again, ladies, there's nothing wrong going to these destinations. Of course, enjoy yourself, go there for networking, get the experience, whatever. But if you are really sucked into that bubble, then you just need to be aware that if you are looking for stereotypical new money, that's where you're going to find it primarily, because that's the kind of crowd it attracts. If you're more interested in old money, or, I don't know, secret millionaires and billionaires, then most often you will travel to other destinations which are more low-key. So this is of course important. What are your aspirations? What community would you like to be associated with, and so on? Now, next point, and I'm sure we all are aware that there is nothing more tacky than taking a bunch of pictures with all kinds of different status symbols. And of course, the new money, they love doing this. And I'm gonna give you some examples now. As an example, taking pictures with champagne bottles in a club, or film when the bottles are approaching you, or taking pictures with exotic cars, or maybe taking pictures of your luxury vehicle when you are in it. Maybe you are taking a picture of your arm with all your beautiful bracelets, or you're taking a picture of your massive shopping spree, which you can really see how much money you've spent and how excessive it all was. Now, there are many ways how one can show off their wealth, and I think it's very nouveau riche to show off wealth. I think we all can agree on that. But I think there's also a fine line between, let's say you have acquired certain status symbols in your life, or you have a certain lifestyle, and then you regularly live your life, and sometimes you take pictures, sometimes you post on social media, and that's it. You might actually not be showing it off. I think that's different. Then you have those who really want to show that they have all this stuff, that they live this type of life. And this is when it becomes different and maybe a little bit tacky, maybe a bit nouveau riche. So this is definitely something you want to avoid doing if you want to keep a certain level of elegance. Next on this list. So to continue this whole status symbol saga, and we all know that if your life is all about yachts, private jets, helicopters, exotic cars, then most likely you are living more of quite a new money lifestyle versus old money or secret millionaires. They oftentimes don't like to spend so much on such items, maybe only occasional, but not as a general rule. So for this reason, even also taking pictures with all these items, it's not going to make you look more leveled up, it's just going to make you look more nouveau riche, I guess. But again, nothing wrong with being nouveau riche. I'm just saying that that's how people are going to associate you compared to if you just try to keep it in private. Now, the next point is, imagine this really expensive and extravagant looking person who doesn't know how to eat properly at dinner. That kind of looks odd. But it does give away someone's education and upbringing, and definitely it shows the world that, okay, I'm not used to this type of environment, I don't really know what I'm doing, I might be all blinged up and look like I have all the money in the world, but I don't have the education. And that is the part what gives away someone's wealth, where it came from. Because old money, they're all educated to have certain etiquette skills. So this is why actually in my course, Secrets of the Elite Woman, I have a whole module on dining etiquette and how to get it right so that you can actually dine with the queen. Yes, I teach this in my program, Secrets of the Elite Woman. If you want to find out more how to join this program, simply visit the link here below. Now, point number 9 is being rude to service staff. Again, this has to do with manners and etiquette. It has to do with education. That's something that I do think is very good with the old money community, because they're very educated on never, ever being rude to service staff. It's part of their social culture, and this is something that oftentimes new money don't think of, don't know of, or actually they think it's the opposite, that now that I have money, I can do whatever I want, I can be as rude as I want, basically. I afford to be rude to people. And this is what's wrong. So please, ladies, I kindly ask you, always act with kindness, regardless of who it is to, but especially to those who are serving you, helping you, there for you. Very important. Now, last but not least, new money. They like trends. They buy into these trends, whether that is trendy fashion, trendy items, trendy experiences, trendy travel, or whatever trendy talks of the town. Now, old money tends to be more traditional and not really jump on whatever is new right now, because what happens with trends is that trends expire. Trends is wasteful at times as well, especially if we look into fashion. This information is for those who don't want to be stereotyped, so I hope this has helped. Now, in my next video, 10 things that tell you have class, you're gonna find out how to be that elegant, high-value woman and what those important 10 points are. Can't miss that one, ladies. I will see you in that video.